Hello, and welcome to this journey through the history of Japan, a country with a rich and unique history, from its ancient roots to its rise as a global power. Today, we'll explore Japan's evolution over thousands of years, its early origins, the rise of samurai, periods of peace and war, and its modern transformation. Japan's history starts long before recorded time, with early human presence on the islands dating back to around 35,000 BCE. The first known culture, the Jomon people, were hunter-gatherers known for their distinctive pottery. The Jomon period lasted until around 300 BCE, and their pottery, decorated with cord markings, is one of the most iconic legacies of the era. The Yayoi period, from around 300 BCE to 300 CE, marks a significant shift with the introduction of rice farming, bronze and iron tools, likely through contact with mainland Asia. These technological advances led to the growth of settlements and social structures, and they laid the foundation for the Japanese state's formation. The Kofun period, 250 to 538 CE, followed, marked by the construction of large burial mounds for the elite. This period also saw the rise of the Yamato clan, the family that would eventually become Japan's imperial dynasty. During the same time, Buddhism began to spread to Japan from Korea, sparking cultural and religious transformations that would continue to shape the country. The next defining era was the Heian period, 794 to 1185, when Japan's political and cultural center moved to Heian-kyu, modern-day Kyoto. This period is famous for the flourishing of court culture, art, and literature. Murasaki Shikibu wrote The Tale of Genji, considered the world's first novel. The era also saw the emergence of the samurai, a warrior class that would rise to prominence in later centuries. During the Heian period, the emperor's role was largely symbolic, and political power gradually shifted to noble families. The Fujiwara clan dominated much of the government, exercising great influence through their marriages to the imperial family. The samurai, originally serving as guards and military leaders for noble families, began gaining more power and influence. Buddhism, particularly the Pure Land and Zen schools, grew in importance during this time, impacting Japanese culture and society. However, by the end of the Heian period, Japan entered a period of turmoil and civil war as noble families fought for control. The Heian period gave way to the Kamakura period, 1185 to 1333, a time when Japan shifted toward a feudal system of government. After the Genpei War, 1180 to 1185, the Minamoto clan defeated the Taira clan and established the Kamakura Shogunate, the first military government in Japan's history. The emperor remained the figurehead, but real political power rested with the shogun and samurai. The Kamakura period also marked Japan's defense against Mongol invasions in the late 13th century. In 1274 and 1281, Kublai Khan's forces attempted to invade Japan, but both invasions were thwarted, in part due to typhoons that destroyed the Mongol fleets. These divine winds became a symbol of Japan's divine protection and were later called the kamikaze. The Kamakura shogunate eventually collapsed, and Japan entered a period of internal conflict known as the Nanboku-cho period, 1336 to 1392. This period saw two rival imperial courts, but the Ashikaga shogunate, 1336 to 1573, eventually established its control over Japan. Although internal strife and power struggles among daimyos, regional lords, were ongoing. The Sengoku period, 1467 to 1603, often referred to as the Warring States period, was a time of intense conflict as powerful daimyos fought for control of Japan. The rise of warlords like Oda Nobunaga, Toyotomi Hideyoshi, and Tokugawa Ieyasu led to the unification of Japan by the early 1600s. In 1603, Tokugawa Ieyasu established the Tokugawa Shogunate, bringing an end to the Sengoku period and initiating over 2 centuries of peace and stability in Japan. This period, known as the Edo period, 1603 to 1868, was characterized by strict social hierarchies, strict control over foreign trade, and the rise of urban culture. The Tokugawa Shogunate implemented the policy of Sakoku, which isolated Japan from most of the outside world, allowing limited foreign contact with China and the Dutch. This isolation helped preserve Japanese traditions, but also kept Japan from participating in global developments. Under the Tokugawa Shogunate, Japan saw the development of new art forms, including kabuki theatre, ukiyo-e woodblock prints, and the haiku poetry of Matsuo Basho. The merchant class grew in wealth and importance, and cities like Edo, modern-day Tokyo, flourished as cultural and economic hubs. Despite the period of peace, the Tokugawa regime faced internal challenges. By the mid-19th century, Japan's isolationist policies were under increasing pressure, especially after the arrival of US Commodore Matthew Perry in 1853. Perry's black ships forced Japan to open its ports to foreign trade, marking the beginning of the end for the Tokugawa Shogunate. In 1868, the Meiji Restoration saw the end of the Tokugawa Shogunate and the restoration of imperial power under Emperor Meiji. This marked the beginning of a radical transformation for Japan as the country sought to modernize and catch up with the Western powers that had been rapidly industrializing. Japan's government was restructured to resemble Western models, and Japan began a process of rapid industrialization, building infrastructure, adopting new technologies, and modernizing its military. Land reforms were implemented, the feudal system was abolished, and education was reformed to build a more modern workforce. Japan's industrial growth was impressive. By the late 19th century, Japan had become a global power in its own right. Japan's victory in the First Sino-Japanese War, 1894 to 1895, and the Russo-Japanese War, 1904 to 1905, demonstrated its newfound military might and positioned Japan as a key player in East Asia. By the early 20th century, Japan's imperial ambitions became clear. The country sought to expand its territory, beginning with the annexation of Korea in 1910. Japan's aggression in China during the 1930s eventually led to its involvement in World War II. In 1941, Japan's attack on Pearl Harbor brought the United States into the war. Over the next few years, Japan's military forces advanced throughout the Pacific, but by 1945, Japan faced defeat. The atomic bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki by the US brought an end to the war, and Japan formally surrendered on September 2, 1945. After World War II, Japan was occupied by Allied forces under General Douglas MacArthur. The country underwent major reforms, including the drafting of a new constitution that renounced war and established Japan as a peaceful nation. The country's military was dismantled, and democratic reforms were implemented. In the decades following the war, Japan experienced rapid economic growth, driven by technological innovation and manufacturing. By the 1960s and 1970s, Japan had become one of the world's leading economic powers, known for its advanced technology, automotive industry, and consumer electronics. Today, Japan is a major player in the global economy, known for its culture, innovation, and technological prowess. The country continues to honor its ancient traditions while embracing modernity, making it one of the most fascinating nations in the world. That's a brief overview of Japan's incredible history, its ancient origins, rise as a military power, modernization, and current global role. If you found this video interesting, please like, comment, and subscribe for more content on history. Thanks for watching.